Welcome, everybody. We have an exclusive, exciting interview for you all today. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome and just a general hello to my Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, Shadow Skull.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Well, Shadow Skull, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Mithandir. How are you?
Just excellent. A lot better now that you're here. Now, a lot of people are clamoring, desperate to know, and this is just the most pressing question, so we've got to get it out of the way right off the bat. Actually, hold on. We forgot something before I start. We did forget a big old round of applause for Shadow Skull joining us. Everybody, give him a big round of applause.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And we are going to be starting the interview now. So, Shadow Skull.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. Shadow Skull. What happened? Emperor Ali von Liechtenstein or Shadow Skull? Which do you prefer, Ali or Shadow Skull?
You can just call me Ali.
Ali. What happened in your duel versus me? Protoss Supremacy. What happened? You just go through the process of that duel. What went wrong for you?
Well, it was a full server, so there was considerable lag. I'm not gonna lie, I messed up, but it's okay, it happens. And I got an active division out of it, so I'm pretty happy.
So you're going back on your statement that you intentionally lost.
Hey, that was a joke, okay? I'm not gonna lie to the people.
So let's break down this fight one by one. So first off, this is what I remember, especially from editing.
How did I know that this is what the interview was going to be about?
This is just, I mean, it would be a shame for me as a reporter not to ask the most pressing question. I mean, if you thought if you wanted softballs, you should have had deadline interviews. But you wanted a real interview. So let's get back on track. This is what really happened. The first part of the fight, we said go. I scream stop as a trick, and then I rush up, and then I actually try to hit you after yelling stop. So and this is really, it wasn't that, because I didn't actually get a hit off. It was the fact I think you started laughing after I did that. Is that correct?
Yep, I found it pretty funny.
Excellent. So my 4,000 IQ plan works. So essentially, you're now laughing, disgruntled, off your rhythm, and then I get an early hit on you, and you freak out. You start telling everybody in the chat to chill, because everybody in the voice chat is freaking out that you got hit. And at that moment, as you're distracted, that's when I landed the parry of a lifetime. The parry heard round the world. Some have been calling it that. The parry heard round the world. Not me, but some. I've heard some call it the parry around the world. That's when the parry around the world happened, and at that point, it was just all over for you. Does that seem accurate?
That seems accurate. Yep.
So, what else? What else? What was the consequence of this duel? Did you have friends reaching out to you? Anybody leave the group, or I know somebody in the chat hilariously said they were going to coup you.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. Well, I had a lot of people DMing me asking how it happened because, they know that Mithandir is a very bad TTC player. So they were wondering how I lost to him. Uh, but, it's okay. It happens.
Well, it
I
doesn't
mean,
matter. Doesn't matter
even the
how many
best
times you get
players.
knocked down, just how many times you get back up. Is that right?
Exactly. Exactly. Not, even the best players, they lose sometimes. It's okay.
Well, now that this is all behind us, what do you think of Holland since the new count has taken over?
Surprisingly, it's very much up to HRE standards, the events, and it's increased in activity. I'm very happy.
Oh, that's good to hear. For
Yeah.
this is directly because of the new count, holding all those activities and hosting and doing all those tryouts, right?
Yep, pretty much. Well,
So, no, go ahead.
actually, you can continue.
Well, I'm just gonna
Moving on to the
I'm
next
gonna
question.
transition now that I'm done trolling you. So,
Okay.
what? Let's get to the serious part of the interview. What do you think about the current state of Holy Roman Empire in Lionhearts? Obviously, this is a faction that's had a pretty active history, especially over the last few years. But before then, really wasn't that active of a faction. I remember periods of dead time for HRE. So, what do you think of HRE now? How is it doing, and what goals do you have for the future?
HRE, when I took over, wasn't in the best position, and that's why the Templars decided to try and take advantage of that when they declared war on us. But uh, me and my team, we managed to quickly get things in order and start getting back on track. And it's going really well. I'm very proud of what we managed to achieve. Right now, uh, we actually dominate our home region of SL, 42% region ownership, and that's pretty cool.
And what was the process like taking over? Who was your predecessor? Could you
My predecessor was Bean, also known as Hades.
and
He was,
what was the process of you becoming leader? How did it happen?
well, I guess I was just in the right place at the right time, to be honest. And yeah, I was actually 3IC when it happened and not 2IC. But the prince electors of the Holy Roman Empire, they decided that I was best fit to lead. And yeah, that's how it happened.
And were you? Were you best fit to lead? Do you feel like you were prepared at the time to take on such a big responsibility?
I do. I do think that I was the best choice at the time.
What sort of changes did you enact? You've been emperor, I think it's at least, has it been a year now?
About 7 months.
Okay, so not quite a year. And what have you done as emperor? What was the first thing you did when you took over?
The first thing I tried to do, or the first thing I did, was get HRE back up to its original standards. Uh, HRE for a time before I was emperor, it wasn't up to its correct standards. It wasn't as in order as you would think HRE would be. So the first thing I did was just you know, get back up to standards and get everything in order.
And was that a difficult process, adapting, learning how to be a leader, or did you take it in stride?
Well, I had a lot of people to help me. Especially some of the previous emperors, I got in contact with them and they were with me through the whole way. Especially Cog, the head of moderation. He has been a big part of my reign.
And he was a former
Uh,
emperor, so was he giving you guidance?
exactly, yeah. He was giving me guidance the whole way, and yeah. To be honest, I couldn't have done anything without the people around me. They're just always a really big part of what I do.
What do you think Lionhearts is fun for a leader?
Personally, I enjoy being a faction leader. Um, I think it has its stressful times, but it's worth it. I enjoy it.
What is it? What are those stressful times? Tell me more about that. What? How does that weigh on you personally when those stressful times happen?
Mm. Well, mm, you have, as a faction leader, you have a big responsibility. You are the face of your faction. You are responsible for everything that happens in your faction, and there's a lot of pressure on you to perform well and do well. And sometimes it just gets stressful, but it's always fun. I enjoy it.
What's been the biggest challenge? Can you think of a moment that was particularly hard or challenging in the last 7 months?
Mm. You know, this current ongoing war, we're winning right now, and we have been for a while. But getting to this point and beating the Templars, it was a hard process. Because they're a formidable foe, but we managed to do it. We overcame the challenges of being attacked by these Templars.
Obviously, mentioning the Templars there, you share the southern Levant, specifically the most southern part of southern Levant, with Templars. What's made them more of an adversary than an ally? Is it simply their Federation ties, or is there something more personal going on there with your relationship with their leader Tilla?
When I first uh, began my reign, the first thing I did was reach out to the Federation leaders and express HRE's intention to just be friendly with them, and they accepted. And I thought we were on good terms. Me and my team, we thought we were just on good terms, but uh, apparently we weren't. But we 100% tried our hardest to be friends with these guys. We tried not to be their adversaries, but they decided they chose their path, I guess. And it's obviously not been a good choice for them.
So they initiated the war. They started attacking you first.
Yeah, they definitely initiated the war, just randomly attacking us and ganging up on us with some Federation factions. It was actually like we were very surprised when we got attacked because, like I said, we thought we were on good terms, so we were betrayed.
What does that feel like in the Parabellum era of Lionhearts, where a war can end literally in your puppeting? We've seen that uh, just recently this week with Saddam puppeting Lettuce, the Emperor of Cyprus. out, and now
Mm-hmm.
Lettuce is completely thrown out of his faction just by simply losing a war. So wars are now more consequential than ever in the last year. How does it feel when you wake up or you see, or you just hear in a political declaration, oh, the Federation has declared war on me? Are you ever worried or scared about your status as a leader being lost?
To be honest, uh, I surround myself with the best people there is. So puppeting or getting cooped, this is stuff that doesn't really worry me because HRE in its own, it's just known as a stable faction. And like I said, I've just surrounded myself with really cool, helpful, the best of the best, really. So that stuff doesn't really worry me.
What does worry you as a leader? Is there anything that does
Mm.
concern you or keep you up at night?
I don't know. Maybe, I'm always worried about keeping my faction active. And sometimes, every faction has a time where it's inactive. And it does worry me. We try our hardest to just stay up to our standards and stay active, but it is something to worry about.
Do you ever feel burned out playing or leading, and that contribute to these periods of inactivity?
Um, I have felt burnt out before, but mm, I I see part of being a good faction leader being. I see that a part of being a good faction leader is not having your faction completely rely on you. I think that's just the key to failure, basically. Um, so I've taken breaks when I've felt burnt out, and we built HRE so that it runs even if I'm not 100% online all the time. And that's just how it works.
I do think that that's, in my experience, the difference between a successful faction and a failed one. Um, Even if you have a good leader, if the faction doesn't run leaders offline, then it's not a good faction, and
Exactly.
it's going to rally way less, and it's going to be way less self sufficient. But I would also say, and this is also a question: do you feel like that's the most challenging part of being a leader is getting it to be self sufficient and finding those people?
Hmm. Another thing, another stressful thing about being a leader is dealing, not most leaders, they don't care about it, but it really is important how the public views you, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy. Um, most leaders, they don't care about that, and it has led to failure. It is something to worry about. You need to worry about what people think of you. And from the start, I've just attempted to be the best person I can, a good guy, a man of the people.
What
And it is challenging. It is challenging to do that.
who's your biggest inspiration as a leader, either in Lionhearts, outside of Lionhearts, somebody you look up to, maybe for advice, just as a role model?
Well, hmm, um, I have to say, I think that person is Cog, the former emperor. Um, he's the one I've looked to for advice for a very long time now. Uh, he knows what's up. He's led the faction before. Um, I believe he's a good role model to look up to and learn from. Yeah.
Is it hard to trust Cog and some of these other high ranks, knowing that they could start a rebellion or against you at any time? Is it difficult to select these people? And what's your vetting process for finding people you could trust?
Well, to answer your first question, no, it doesn't worry me because, like I said, I surround myself with the best people, and I do believe these are the best people. People like Deadline, Cog, Gabo Boy, too. My whole diet is just all good people, and they wouldn't be in the diet if I didn't trust them 100% and believe in them.
Have you ever been burned or betrayed before in your time as a leader where, hey, I made a bad choice. I selected the wrong.
Hmm. Well, I've had to remove division leaders before, but that's not because they betrayed me in any way. It's just because they were uh, not best fit for that position, I guess. But uh, no, I'm very careful about this kind of stuff. So no, I have not been betrayed really. Like internally in the faction, I have not been betrayed.
What's your biggest gripe with Lionhearts? Biggest issue? And I want to go ahead and exclude. I'd rather the answer not be uniform helmets, if possible. I know that's
To be honest, they're not even that much of an issue for me. I love how I look and I love how my faction looks.
okay,
The
good because
uniforms are great.
I know for some factions they feel like they get the short end of the stick outfits, and I know that that's um.
Yeah,
But the reason I exclude that is just because it's not as helpful for game mechanics. Or I'd really like
I
to know,
understand.
and also if you could speak on behalf of not only yourself but maybe your faction members. They say
Some of I think the issue that I think what might have been a problem for most of us is that sometimes we feel forced to, some RBs are just at really bad times for us, and we feel that we have to get to there and we have to fight, or else we're just gonna lose everything. And it definitely is hard to deal with that and have to get on even at the worst times.
that contribute now. That contribute your members leaving. Like, hey, I can't get on. I can't get up at 3 a.m. So I can't get up at 3 and against Federation. Right? Like, that's something that contributes to quitting or burn.
Of course it does, but we're very careful about that. We recognize that burnout is a real problem, so we don't force anyone to come to the RB. If when we host events, we make sure these events are fun. Uh, make sure that the people when they come to the events, they actually enjoy them and they don't just come to, like, finish it up and get promoted. We want the place to be a fun place that people actually enjoy.
And just a reminder, everybody watching, if you join on Twitch, well, you can also get Credenzio coin. And there, back to the interview. Oh, I guess follow up to that is, what would your solution be? We've tried. I've tried everything I can think of. try to fix this problem,
Mm,
including the 24/7 thing. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but we actually proposed that as a solution to burn. It just didn't work out that way. And when we
yeah.
proposed polls, people don't seem to want the road battles to be less often. We had long periods where once a day or 4 times a day, and it seems to me that this time seems to be the most optimal of the time gated. Um, I know some people propose like, oh, we can vote on a time. However, that really screws over people in bad time zones. They'll never have a good road battle time where they can get on. So, what would your suggestion be on that? Have one?
I mean, hmm, I don't know really. I've thought about it before, but I don't know. I'm just I don't think my duties. I don't think that fits my duties. I'm just mostly thinking about my faction and uh, whatever whatever changes, whatever patches happen, we just adapt. We just adapt to that.
So, and guys, please let me know if the audio issues with my mic are fixed or not. I hope that it hasn't been too bad. But the question to Shadow was, how do we fix RBs? Specifically, the issue with people getting burned out and then being time gated, and that was my question. So I understand you don't have a solution, but certainly you might think, okay, something could be preferable to this. Is there anything that you would prefer to the current way we do road battles?
I do think that 30 lives is too much, and it might force people to stay on for longer than they'd want to. I do think decreasing the lives to maybe 10 or 15 would be really good and would be more fun for everyone.
Okay, I could see that. And we are getting, we've lost your cam. I disconnected, so I'm coming back to now. Um, yeah, I think lowering the lives could be adequate. Um, what do you think? 20?
Mm, I was thinking even lower than that. Like I said, 10 to 15.
10 to 15? Well, I'll talk to our devs and see about it. I don't know what the chat thinks about that proposal. Um, but got your camera on. I'm definitely willing to look at that. I think 20
Yeah.
might be more fair to start just to see. Um, but yeah, what would that do? Like encourage more conservative play?
It would just right now with the 30 lives, uh, almost no one like actually runs out of lives during RBs. So decreasing it to 10 to 15 would make it so there's a higher chance that you actually run out of lives during an RB, and that the RB, and that you're not forced to fight for as long as you would with 30 lives.
Obviously, it's a delicate balance, right?
It is.
Make the road battles, like for example, garrison capture times, make garrisons too easy to capture, and then factions get vassalized and it's a lot more unstable. Make them too hard to capture and it feels too grindy and like there's no progress, right?
Yeah, it is hard to find that really good balance.
What do you do in Lionhearts besides fighting? What's your favorite activity to do in Lionhearts besides fighting? Is there even anything to do besides that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, faction events, uh, hosting faction events are really fun, and I hope it's also fun for the people attending. we always try to make it as fun as possible, like I said. But yeah, hosting these faction events and just being a friendly community together and just having fun together, it's really good.
And what do you do at these events? Is there any? I mean, you guys have been very active, so maybe these fun events have been a key to that. You've certainly mentioned that. Is there some specific thing you like to do for a fun event?
Mm. I'd say when we host trainings, uh, we we have high standards for trainings, so we make sure that um, you actually learn something when you attend one of our trainings, and we also make sure that you have fun. Um, at the end of trainings, I think it's good to I think it's good to do some sort of fun activity with them, like a game night, or sometimes you play hide and seek at Cairo, and it's very fun.
I like the creativity. I do think that, and I've mentioned this in other interviews, I do think that Lionhearts does have a lack of things to do outside of fighting. Um, I think role play and sort of community events are obviously a
I
solution to
think,
that.
yeah, I really think people underestimate the value of roleplay and that kind of stuff. We've been made fun of because of it for like a really long time, but it is really a key to our success.
Tell me more about that because that's definitely something I wanted to get into. Is HRE has been, as you've mentioned, sort of blasted about put on blast
Yeah,
rather about how much you guys role play. I know it was a much bigger. I think it's toned down a little bit to my knowledge, but what I'm certainly a fan of it. I think it makes the experience a lot more enjoyable.
yeah,
I
it
know some
does.
people would say, "Oh, it's too hardcore. You're going to get burned out." But back in our day, we had much less features, um,
Yeah,
and you know, the assassins, we'd patrol Masyaf and we'd role play for hours because that's what there was to do. And it wasn't cringing role play. It was more like actually, hey, we're going to patrol the walls. Hey, you're going to refer to me as mentor. You're going to refer to me as these things. We're going to actually play our roles that we're already dressing up as. And it just made the experience more enjoyable and also made our troops more disciplined. So tell us a little bit about how you implement the role play and how do you get people on board with that?
yeah, that's really what we try to do. We try to so when people first join, we it's introduced the role play is introduced to them in a safe way and in a friendly way. Um,
Talk about
it's
that. What
not
does that
really like,
mean? What do you mean by that?
well, most people that have joined, they've never really had a problem with role play. Uh, People do make fun of us for it, but if they'd actually, join the faction and try it out for themselves, or just implement it in their own faction, they'd find that it's really fun, and it's really effective too. Um, yeah,
What is it effective at?
disciplined troops. Um, it's definitely one of the biggest things that it helps for, and it's also, like I said, it just keeps things fun, man. Uh, when there's nothing to do,
Do you,
our
do
trainings
you
are
go ahead?
our trainings are they're what role play in HRE is what makes us unique. It's what the role play is what makes us different from other factions. And our trainings, they have, of course, they have a role play aspect to it, and that's why we think they're very effective at um, disciplining the troops and making their time enjoyable.
Um, what do you think we could do from a development standpoint to encourage role play? Because I do think when you lack features like we're talking about, role play can make up for that and make the game a lot more enjoyable. Yet, I'd say 15 out of the 16 factions don't embrace it the level HRE does, or at all.
Yeah.
How do you encourage that in the rest of the genre? Um, from a development standpoint, like, is there something we could add that could make it better? I think titles have helped. Maybe I don't know really.
Mm. I mean, they've definitely helped in some way, definitely. I think it's just mostly up to the faction leaders and it's up to the factions to really implement that in their factions and to really embrace it. I don't know what there is to do really from the development aspect. It's just up to the factions.
What would you? I've asked you what your biggest issue with Lionhearts is. What would you add if you could add one thing to Lionhearts? What would it be?
Probably siege weapons right now. I think siege weapons and like having actual sieges with siege camps would be insanely fun. And I think it would encourage roleplay.
Interesting. I definitely think that siege weapons would be an awesome addition.
Yeah.
What do you have to say to your members, people watching this that look up to you? Um, you got a couple of your men on the left there behind
Yep,
you.
I see them.
What do you have to
It's two
say
of my very
to
trusted boots.
the loyal soldiers of HRE, from Emperor to them?
Um, well, the first thing I have to do is thank every single one of them for sticking by me. Um, from the bottom of my heart, seriously, thank you. Uh, no, none of what we have accomplished could have been accomplished without them. Uh, we are we are nothing without our people. I really believe that, and that's why I believe it's really important to take care of them and be a good role model for them and be a good example.
Are you planning on moving on soon, retiring?
To be honest, no, I'm not. Like I said, I've been really enjoying being a faction leader and just being an example for all of these guys and all these people. They've just made the experience 100 times more fun. People like as I've mentioned, Cog, Deadline, Care, the Duke of Saxony, Gabba Boy, all these people, and people that I have not mentioned.
What kind of legacy do you want to leave after you're done? At the end of the day, who knows? Maybe that's 10 years from now. But what
Maybe.
legacy do you want to leave?
I just I wanna make my mark. I wanna leave my mark in a good way. I do think I have just so much left to do and so much legacy to build. Um, I just want to be remembered as a cool guy, man, and as a guy that made things more enjoyable and fun.
Well, Ali, Emperor of HRE, thanks for joining me. We really appreciate it. And that
No
was
worries, man.
very insightful. Any final thoughts?
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Uh,
And we're gonna end it with. Oh wait, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say that I really enjoyed being here and talking about all these things.
Well, we're gonna end it on
I
a good
think,
note.
yep.
All right, guys. That was a bombshell of an interview. Thank you all very much for joining. Um, and we will be doing more. We're going to be doing a giveaway right after this. Allie, once again, thanks for joining us. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe below. If not, leave a dislike and tell us why this content could be improved in the comments below. We'll see you guys in the next one.